Welcome back. This is TVXYZ. This is Xyz TV. I am very angry this morning. I deliberately want you to be angry too if you love Ghana. What's the omeni or yenina yanede? In my language, they say lakpato ho motonadzio do kone. I want to break it down in Fanti. What's the kushinyine then one show no ususo? The reason is that says show na ebia obotumu edzakoshi there sa an show na and cannot be bid but in your botter ne yin one bibia oho bia ebohu. You remember when this fight against illegal mining started, government stopped all small-scale miners and said, we are taking you through a process. We will register you. We'll put monitoring mechanisms or monitoring systems on your excavators so that when you move them onto the field, we'll know where you are, we'll know where your concession is, and then we can clearly monitor your operations and ensure that when you finish, you can reclaim the land and then go through the other processes. So if Kate Jemfua is doing proper mining, I presume that the Minerals Commission is aware. I presume that the Environmental Protection Agency is aware. I presume that the Ministry of Lands is aware. And because the Operation Halt is a national exercise, when the military officers or the policemen are being sent onto the field, in security, there's something we call reconnaissance. So they know that wherever they are going is a mapped out zone. And they can determine that this is proper mining or this is illegal mining. And so I strongly believe that what they did is right. And if I believe what they did is right, then Kate Jemfua was doing illegal mining. And is government's narrative telling you the truth? I want you to join me this morning. I will take a few calls, maybe 2 or 3. Just call me now and help us to pile pressure on government to stop the lies. And I also want to speak directly to all the opinion leaders, from civil society organizations to labor unions to people who claim to be religious leaders. Because if you are a religious leader, you must speak the truth. You must not be a sycophant and follow leaders and sit at events and pretend that you love Ghana. And that is the painful part of where we are. This morning, I just want you to listen to somebody who has just joined us on the phone and hear how angry he or she may be as we speak. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. I can hear you. Can you mention your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Paul. I'm calling from near the Biate.
Thank you. Is there illegal mining taking place in your area?
Okay, where I am right now, there is no illegal mining. But when you go to where I was before I moved to this place, a lot of illegal mining over there. It's still ongoing. People are still doing it, and nothing like government, putting things in place to solve this problem. There are so many things happening right now. There is a lake over there called Oweri Mine. The way they have destroyed the place, my brother, it's very, very sad. So this government must speak the truth.
Sorry, I have to cut you short. I want to pick 3 quick calls before Wisdom joins us. I'm told we also have Emmanuel on the line. Emmanuel, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Emmanuel, calling from Kaswa.
Kaswa, thank you. Tell us how angry you are this morning.
I'm very angry, but like seriously. Yeah. What this government is doing is very bad. And if you watch from let me see, Eastern region.
Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost somebody else on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, may I know where you called from?
I'm Bernard. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Good. We are all angry. Otunfo spoke. I believe he spoke your heart.
Yes. Otunfo said what he said to me, because I would have been disappointed if Nana have read only what we have written for him to say. He proved to me that he is assassinating. My brother, when Chairman to me come and sit on radio, on TV station, and then brings out 1 gold, 2 gold, 3 gold, 4 gold, and then the government is saying he is fighting Galamsey. We are Ashanti people here, and we know what Akufo-Addo, he himself is involved. We know if he says he is fighting Galamsey, let his people bring themselves to him that no, we are sorry. We cannot do that again because we are behind it.
Thank you. There's one last person who wants to share his opinion. Good morning. Good morning. I can hear you, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, we are talking about illegal mining. It is about time all of us become angry. I would wish that we all pour on the streets and pile pressure on those who have lied to us and continue to abuse us and our children's future. Speak.
Good morning.
I can hear you.
Okay. The fact of the matter is we have allowed ourselves for this government to take the whole of the nation for granted for too long. You read it. When the enforcing super tour, if they are not, a lot of wrongs have been going on for long, and our opinion leaders pretend not to see. Since 2017, issues come up and they sweep it under the carpet. And when the youth wants to rise, they either use money to influence them or they use power to silence them.
You know what? It's just sad that we don't have much time.
How come that the very videos that have been able to put a lot of fear in government officials in Ghana that was fighting corruption, what does this you? And that video is now off.
Sorry, just hold it there. After the news, I'm sure the newspaper review segment, we shall delve more into this because I strongly believe it's time for Wisdom to join us now, and so I have to walk off this stage. I'm just wondering what is going through the minds of members of the Council of State. If, and I want to use this word, if they have conscience and they think that the generation behind them have a life, I want the National Council of State to make a statement, speak to the president directly. I'll be back after Abner has joined Wisdom's tail end of his presentation. Thank you and bye.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
And in this edition, government takes digitization agenda to another level to integrate all sectors of the economy to enhance efficiency and limit fraud for accelerated development. We shall hear Vice President Dr. Bawumia at his CEO's summit yesterday. Analyst warns Ghana could be plunged into chaos if immediate steps are not taken to address concerns at the national security setup. Also, government and the Ghana Health Service devise a strategy to prevent chaos as it gets set for second jab against COVID-19 vaccination by close of day tomorrow. And later, Bank of Ghana to respond to closure of Unibank and UT Bank by close of day today. To parliamentary probe on that matter. My name is Wisdom Hedejime, and we have details for you. Let's begin the story from education, because the senior staff members of the universities are expected to announce a nationwide strike today in protest against government failure in honor of obligations as directed by the National Labour Commission about 2 months ago. Now, the action is in protest against the non-payment of Tier 2 of their pensions, allowances, arrears, as well as market premium for all their members.
An advance notice served on the National Labour Commission on May 7 this year enumerated reasons for the intended strike beginning today. These include 1. Non-payment of our Tier 2 pension arrears from 2010 to 2016. 2. Market premium and non-basic allowance. And 3. Failure by Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to finalize negotiations on our conditions of service. A statement signed by the national chairman of the University of Ghana branch of the association, Zakaria Mohammed, cited government's decision to flout 31st March deadline directive issued by the National Labour Commission following earlier concerns raised as far back as January this year. It also alleged all efforts to engage relevant stakeholders to resolve the issue hit a snag. The letter copied to the ministers in charge of employment and education, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, did not say anything further. Zakaria Mohammed spoke to TV XYZ News late afternoon yesterday.
It's going to take a nationwide strike as usual. It's going to be national in character. It's going to be a complete withdrawal of our services, and nobody is expected to be on campus. We have nobody as long as the problems remain unresolved.
There is no indication yet about how widespread the action will be and the likely impact on academic work.
Now, still on education, and this time to the Achimota schools, and its litigation with the GES over who owns the school's land is far from over. A statement from the GES indicating that it has the full backing of the ministry has been rubbished by the school.
The impasse between the managing board of Achimota Preparatory School and the Ghana Education Service over ownership landed in court with ruling in favor of government. 2 weeks ago, the PTA petitioned the president, who has since directed the Ministry of Education to intervene in the impasse. The purported update suggesting that the ministry has endorsed the GES takeover after subsequent deliberations has been disputed by the school. A statement dated May 17, 2021 and signed by the vice chairman of the school's management board, Bernard Anaba, describes as misleading the impression created and calls on the general public to disregard it as such. It's noted that both parties have resolved that negotiations other than litigations must be employed in the best interest of the school, the pupils, teaching and non-teaching staff. The board is grateful to the president for his intervention and hopes subsequent deliberations will bring finality to the impasse to prevent any further disruption to the academic calendar, especially for the final year students preparing for their BGCE.
We think that if we allow conversation, dialogue, we probably will understand ourselves. But they want to force their way out, into this. And as I speak, we had candidates for BEC exam. We were preparing them in a certain manner, but all has been disrupted. They have thrown their lives into jeopardy because teachers are not of the right frame to teach in that school now. They may say that they have taken over, but psychologically, things are not the same. And we expect them to take this serious as the president has taken it.
Let's do business. Dr. Mahumadu Baumia says the digitization policy aimed at integrating all sectors of the economy is already showing signs of positivity. Now, according to him, revenue mobilization, managing pensions, tracking and curbing fraud, among others, should enhance the processes if complete. Now, Dr. Baumia, who was speaking at the opening session of the Ghana CEO Summit 2021 at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel here in Accra yesterday, said, compared to 2016, The introduction of tax identification numbers has increased the Ghana Revenue Authority's database from 750,000 to over 15 million.
That if you are an economy and you don't have a working address system, you're not going to go very far. If you cannot uniquely identify the population in your country, you are not going to go very far as an economy. You can have exchange rate stability and lower fiscal deficits and so on, but you are going to be just operating in a low-level equilibrium. You will not move up to a higher level. And moving up to the higher level, we want to do. The overarching objective of this digital drive is to formalize the economy, increase government revenue, fight corruption, and ultimately provide public services to citizens more efficiently and more conveniently. Digitization essentially removes human interface. We needed to put certain pillars in place. Issue national ID cards to all Ghanaians, implement a functional address system, provide de facto bank accounts to the bankable, those people who are eligible for bank accounts, implement mobile money interoperability, digitize the provision of government services.
And this year's event is themed Powering Businesses and Government Reset for Post-Pandemic Economic Resilience, Public-Private Sector Dialogue. And that's the theme for this year. Let's still stay a little longer on the issues related to the economy, because the Bank of Ghana has up to close of day today to file its responses challenging the closure of UT and Unibank. Very small in this report.
Member Parliamentary Committee probing government's decision to revoke the licenses of UT and Unibank follows a petition presented to Parliament by MP for Boku Central, Mahama Yerega, on behalf of the owners in March this year. Defunct UT Bank's Prince Kofi Amoabeng and former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufour claim the central bank's action was without due regard to the rules of administrative justice guaranteed under Article 23 of the 1992 Constitution. The committee, chaired by the First Deputy Speaker, Joe Osei-Usu, at its second meeting last week, directed the Bank of Ghana to submit its response to the allegations raised by close of day Tuesday, May 18. TVXYZ News has learnt the committee will subsequently fix a date to determine whether the petitioners and respondents will be invited to answer questions. Founder of UT Bank, Mr. Mwabeng, wants Parliament to investigate Ghana Stock Exchange's decision to delist the bank without regard to the rules of administrative justice, while Dr. Kwabena Dufour, who is also a former governor of the central bank, is demanding probe into the appointment of an official administrator of Unibank Ghana Limited and the circumstances surrounding the revocation of its license. Other members of the committee are Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Makin, former Attorney General and MP for Esikado, Joe Gate, MP for Okaikwe Central, Patrick Yabuama, MP for Ebuakwa South, Samuel Atachia, all belonging to the MPP. The NDC is represented by Deputy Minority Leader James Kluche Aveji, former Deputy Finance Minister and MP for Ejumaku, Enyen Esiem, Dr. Kesilato Forson, MP for Bolgatanga Central, Isaac Adongo, and MP for Techiman North, Mrs. Elizabeth Ofosu Ejare. Meanwhile, Parliament is expected to resume next week, May 25. The House has been on recess since March 30th.
Now, commuters who depend on public transport have been advised not to pay the 20% increase announced by some breakaway driver unions. Now, the GPRT says that official announcement will be made while negotiation is done with government. 2 days ago, 4 breakaway driver unions, the Ghana Committed Drivers Association, International Drivers Road Transport Union, True Drivers Union, Concerned Drivers Association issued a joint statement announcing 20% increment in fares effective Monday, May 17. Some of their members subsequently took advantage effecting the change, but that appears to have hit a snag. The Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, which has the negotiation power, says Ongoing negotiations with government is still inconclusive and there is no official agreement yet. It has subsequently alerted the public to disregard the 20% upward adjustment. The aggrieved drivers say their demand is a result of their taxes in the 2021 budget, which took effect on May 1, but the GPRT insists it's illegal until the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, the sector ministry and the stakeholders reach a compromised agreement. John Tete is first trustee of GPRTU branch at the New Plant Station in Accra.
Our national executives and regional executives have been in contact with us, which we, day in and day out, we have been updated. They are still having a dialogue with the government, which it have not ended. So we have not increased our fares. Our fares remain as it is till further notice or till we receive a communique from our national officers or from our regional officers.
Now, security analyst Sani Adib has warned that Ghana could be plunged into chaos if the government remains adamant over calls to weed out miscreants from the national security architecture.
Renewed public interest in the operations of the national security follows two recent incidents: City FM's Caleb Kuda's arrest and revelations that DSP Samuel Azugu is still at post. The invasion and arrest of the Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, DCOP Opare Ado, who was handcuffed by persons perceived to be hoodlums but was later rescued by the police. Though the actors were accosted by the police, they have since been released. The retired police couple admits his appointment was terminated, but is fuming over the humiliation amidst fears the suspect picked up will be left off the hook, especially after claims that they are operatives rather than MPP vigilantes. Governance think tank CDD is demanding the immediate scrapping of the SWAT team at National Security. GJA, GIBA, and Prinkpag, in a joint statement, also want a review of the recruitment into the service. Security analyst Sani Adib backs the demand. He blames the development on the lack of political will.
Perhaps due to the lack of training, or who knows, maybe they were not even qualified to be there in the first place. For some time now, anytime you see them involved in an issue, it's one mess to another. And the unfortunate thing is they keep disgracing the president. And that is why I have called on the government to take concrete actions to sanitize the national security. And it's in their best interest to do so. It's in their best interest to ensure there's accountability. If not, they would keep on putting the president to shame.
Sani Adib fears the reluctance to implement the Emil Short Commission's recommendations could suffer grave consequences in the near future.
Sure, even double is at post. You see, from day one, some of us knew that there's no commitment whatsoever from the political elite. The Emil Short Commission was just a political ploy. It was just for political expedience. Because in the end, if you don't make use of their recommendation, then what was the need for us to put them together in the first place?
And I'm sure tomorrow by this time you'll be queuing to take your second shot of the COVID-19 vaccination if you are eligible. But the Ghana Health Service says if you do not receive any notice, you have no business going to the designated centers.
The exercise, which has been delayed by 3 weeks, will now take place after Ghana received some 360,000 doses from part of the consignment originally meant for the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to the schedule cited by Xyz News, details of the vaccination plan in line with the dates of the first jabs, that is persons who received their first COVID-19 inoculations between March 1st and 9th, have been outlined. Ghana Health Service has served notice that all those eligible will receive text messages informing them in advance about when to go for their inoculations between tomorrow, May 19th and May 26th. This is to prevent chaos at the various designated points. Key among those on the priority list are frontline health and security staff, MPs, top government officials, media practitioners, and some traditional authorities who benefited from the first inoculation. The slow pace in Ghana, according to the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, is due to the international vaccine politics and the unpredictability of the supply chain, as well as the third wave of infections in Europe and Asia.
International vaccine politics and the unpredictability of the supply chain, as well as the third wave of infections in some countries in Europe and Asia, have meant that we have not been able to secure as many vaccines and vaccinated as many Ghanaians as we would have wanted at this stage.
There is no clarity yet on when the over 500,000 other Ghanaians who have also received their first jabs will be taking theirs, though Ghana is expecting 1.3 million more Sputnik vaccines by the close of this month. Fortunately, COVID-19 infections appear to be declining. Daily infections have scaled down from 400 a day to 100, while the total number of active cases have also seen a significant drop from 5,444 as of February 26 to 1,314 as of May 11th, 2021.
And on that note, we say thank you very much for making time to do the listening and watching this morning. But there's always more on www.myxyzonline.com. My name is Weston Pedejome. Good morning.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
And who is it? Moya Fantasy. So say, dear, we in charge when you feel one Cassandra. Losing the layman capsules. A mob sissy go to do my dream. I'll break you monster with Shanka Sanka. No, near. So, Lawson Lotte, Mr. And this is you. I'm always what if you want you're free to come to go. I say for semi boom round them see dear someone. See what Lawson Lotte, Mr. Lawson Layman Capsule. More your brain more and hello, Lawson Lotte, Mr. Lawson Layman Capsules. Do you know what you feel?
Delay man capsules and men do if you do what they cronkwan and a lower care mixture so a pay for a ma woman no for anyone I want if you do what train son can FD Ashisha sa a jedi and crato you mo adia to muse a
Welcome back to the morning update. This is TV XYZ, and as I indicated earlier, this is the morning update on TV XYZ, proudly brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, simply natural. My name is Nana Abenasewa. Also, we have the Black Secret Makeup brand supporting the show as well. So if you have acne, you have black spots, then please get the facial wipes. And if you want affordable makeup brands, then it is your go-to. There's also the Lawson Herbal Mixture. Every time I'm talking about this product, there's a smile on my face because I know that it is very effective. My mother has finished taking her own, and she's asked me to get her another bottle. So that is how good it is. If you're a woman, please get the Lawson care mixture for the gonorrhea, the syphilis, the infertility problems, for menstrual problems as well. And then a man gets the Delay Man capsules for all your bedmatics. And then Lawson Herbal mixture for body pains, general body pains, menstrual pains, the piles, and also fibroids. There is also the Lawson Herbal ointment as well. For further information, kindly call 0242 133 577 or 0248 619999 and become a part of the Lawson family. Speaking of family, on Sunday evening, the president addressed the nation and he gave us updates on COVID-19 and what the government is doing with regards to the COVID situation and trying to curb it as well, aside the security agencies relentlessly making people observe the protocols. They have also, through the initiative of COVAX, brought in 350,000 AstraZeneca doses, and adding to what we already have, now we have 360,000 doses. So those who took their first jab 1st of March will be receiving it now. But apparently, those that took theirs 9th of March, they are making arrangements for them to be able to take their vaccines as well. This morning in the studio, I will be speaking to two gentlemen, health workers in the Kole Klote municipality, and they will be telling us, we spoke to them earlier, if you could remember, or please go back to our previous episodes on YouTube. So just type TV XYZ and it will give you the ones that we did. We spoke about the first jab and they were here to talk to us about it. And this time we are talking to them again with regards to what is expected of those that are going to the center, where they should go to, those that are eligible to take the vaccines as well. Good morning, Ishmael and Daniel. I got it. Thank you for coming to talk to us today. Right, so I'll start with Daniel because you're close to me here. Ishmael, all right. So who are eligible to take the second dose?
Good morning and good morning to your cherished viewers. As we came here for the first time, that one, it was beginning and we have all value issues on the COVID. But when it came through your help and your medium, people get to understand much about the vaccination. So this time around, I think the number of doses that we received from the previous is higher than the one we have received now, as President indicated during the Sunday's address. So now, we Ghana Health Service wish to expand for more people to get the vaccine. But currently, as President mentioned, there is vaccine politics that is happening now. So even if you have your money where to get the vaccine and purchase it is an issue. So COVAX have been able to deliver us 350,000 doses. So in this case, you can't expand it. You have to target it who have received the first dose. So this time around, we are going to focus much on those who have received the first dose. Scientifically, it makes sense because if you have the duration of 4 to 12 weeks and beyond, small for if you take the first dose, the time you can take the second dose. So if you focus outside those who have taken the first dose and expand it, that means you are going to, those who have taken it will be expired, let's say. So they have to retake it again and then take another dose. So it makes sense to focus on those who have taken for them to get fully immunized. So this time around, I'm going to focus on those who have already taken. Even those people, we have a duration. You know, January we started from 2nd to 9th March. So those group of people that you are going to focus much from 2nd to 9th. All those who took the jab during that time are those that you are going to focus on. Yes. So this is what is going to happen. Those who took on the 2nd March, they were appointed to take it on the 24th of April. And unfortunately, we couldn't get the vaccine on time. So those people who took on the 2nd are to take their own on 19th. Those who took on the 3rd are to take their own on 20th. On the 4th are to take on the 21st, continuous to the the knife.
Right.
So there are those that you are going to do it. And this is how it's going to happen. If you took your own on the 2nd, you are not supposed to go to vaccination center on the 19th.
Okay.
So if you take it on the 2nd, go there on 19th. But if you took it on the maybe 3rd or 4th, don't go there on 19th. Go according to. So on the 2nd, we'll be there on the 19th. On the 3rd, we'll be there on the 20th. On the 4th, we'll be there on 21st. That is continuous. But all those beyond 9th, you are not supposed to go there at all. And if you are not due, because now we have structured it in such a way that if you go there, all those who took the job, name will be there. On that particular day I'm talking about, like the 2nd on the 19th, those who took you on the 2nd, on the 19th of, that is tomorrow, if you go there, all those people, their name will be there. And if you don't find your name in the app, I know circumstance they are going to give you the job. So go accordingly. And if you go and they tell you that you are not supposed to take it today, bear with them. Because to make the whole thing, the process go through very well.
Okay.
And then, if you took your own on the 10th and others, I think you are expecting more.
Yes.
And it will come.
Making arrangements
you are
for
making for arrangements.
Yes. Sputnik,
yes. Even aside that, I think you have the same AstraZeneca. The Sputnik one, you can't take that one as a second jab for the AstraZeneca.
Okay.
But they are still working around the covers to get those countries who have held some that if they are not using, those will help to supply. When it comes, then we are going to target on those who have also took their own beyond there. So the vaccines have been allocated to every district according to the number of people who took the jab on the 2nd to 9th. On the 2nd to 9th. So it's those that have, and then one other thing is that when you took your jab for the first dose, it's the same place you have to go for the second dose. Like for instance, if I took my first jab here at Xyz, I have to come here.
All right. I have a question with regards to that, but before we get into the territories, so actually, Daniel, please let's take that. Where should we go for our vaccines?
Actually, before I start with my submission, I would like to greet our ardent listeners. The arrangement is that where you took your first jab, that's exactly the same place you have to go for the second jab.
So I can't cross territories?
No, please.
Because the thing is that, remember when we took the first jab, there wasn't a lot of things happening in the country. And it could be that someone got a job, but initially he or she was in Accra and now is all the way in the north or even in Kumasi or its environs. So I have to come all the way to, come back to Accra to take my second jab? Or you can make exceptions?
Yes, we have exception to that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you took it in a district and then this time around you want to take it in a different district, you can still go to the different district and take it. But we do not encourage that. Otherwise, the vaccination team will be overwhelmed with work because they will now have to take your details and go through. So because of that, then there will be a lot of people, clients on the team for the jobs. So for us, for the work to run very smoothly, we do not encourage that people should move from one district to the other for the jobs. Yeah.
Right.
You have to vaccinate within your district, though it can be done, but we do not encourage that.
Okay. Speaking of overwhelming, what were some of the challenges you faced the previous time, and what are you doing different? So, Daniel, you tell me the challenges, and you tell me what you're doing different.
But before you speak about that, let me make some submission to that. You know, when I was talking, I said that they have allocated the doses according to the number of people you dose in the district.
Oh, okay.
And the number of the people you dose in particular vaccination center. So if that issues come in, because yes, some people are going to, like for instance, if all the people here have been dosed at this place. And then when you are coming, you know that, 10 people dose here. So you are coming with one bar. One bar contains 10 people. And we come, other person comes to join people. It's not going to be possible. And if they don't see your name, it's like this election process. Right. Where you register is where you have to go and vote. That is what is being done.
So no exceptions?
For that exceptions, I don't want to mention that exception because we don't want that to happen. Okay. Even that exception, calls have to come in. Speak to authorities and they will tell you what to do.
Okay.
They've not taught us what we should do because we are using the app. Mm-hmm. Yes, they have made, there will be an exception, but that exception you have to make calls.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is not encouraged at all for people to visit the place if you didn't take your own over there.
Okay.
Especially even the district that don't do your cross. Yes,
right. Okay.
But they will not.
Okay. All right. Allow. So Daniel, we're talking about the challenges you faced during the first round of the jabs.
Okay. With the first round, before the exercise began, we had a lot of rumor about it, and then we also had a lot of hesitancy. At first, people expressed opinions that they weren't interested in taking the jab because if you take to render you infertile. So we least expected that a lot of people would troop to the vaccination centers to vaccinate. So we did the awareness creation though. So we least expected that a lot of people, but when the day was due, and then the exercise began, and then we are supervisors, so we were going to the various vaccination centers within the district. So when we went to the vaccination centers within the district, to our surprise, we realized that the numbers were very huge. And then because we also least expected, the vaccination team wasn't rolled out or wasn't expanded, and the vaccination team was determined. It was allocated to us from national.
Okay.
And it was national that allocated the team, the vaccination. So the team at the various vaccination centers, they were overwhelmed with their numbers. And then taking into consideration the data entry officers, the data entry, they were few. So at the point we had to devise means by employing or by deploying more data entry officers to assist. Even we had an issue with the crowd control. We had issue with crowd control. So at the point we had to deploy some of the security personnel to help with the crowd control. So in fact, it was overwhelming. And then we also had instance that people came. When they came and they based on their background, we realized that they weren't eligible to take the vaccine. They were like, no, it's for Ghana, it's for us, it's for everyone. Why? At the point, so when we did it for 1 week, a notice was served to us that most people have not received their vaccine, so then there should be extension on that. So we had extension on that, and we were doing the vaccination. But at the point, the kits that we were using for the registration process got finished. So then we had to wait on national to supply us with the card, the registration card. The cards too were not forthcoming. They were not forthcoming. So at the various vaccination centers, as for the community members, they didn't know what was going on, whether we've run out of cards or not. So they were every day just trooping in the vaccination center. So we had to take it upon ourselves to explain it to them that the vaccination cards have gotten finished. So we are waiting on national to supply us. So some understood it, but others too didn't understand. They were like, oh no, we are hiding the vaccine so that maybe we will vaccinate at a cost. So and then at some of the vaccination centers, there was an issue with who should be vaccinated first, because we had the static point. The static point, and then some of the static point were in a health facility. So issues came up that the staff should be vaccinated first before the outsiders. And some of the outsiders also didn't understand why they should come very early as 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. To join the queue. And then when it gets to their turn, only to be told that, no, like you can't take it, wait for the staff to be taken before you take. So there was a bit of scuffle between the outsiders and the staff. So we, the district supervisors, we had to go in and then calm down tempers and then give explanation. The person, though you are a staff, no matter to get your turn, just relax. Otherwise, because we didn't earmark it for only the staff, it was open to the general public. So you can't say that your staff should be attended first before before the outsiders.
Right.
So this and others that we encountered, but when we went around, we were able to address some of them. And then at the point to the apps, the app that we were registering the people on, the tablet, the tablet was very slow in the registration. Adding that to the less number of the data entry officers, I mean, it posed a lot of difficulties on them because using a tablet, that was very slow. That was very slow in registry. And then the number of people being very less. I mean, so it overwhelmed the team. The team was overwhelmed. So, but this time around here, I think things are in order. We've expanded the team. We've expanded the data entry officers. And now the registration process is not going to be as we did. Now, because at first, we took a lot of details of the clients. We had to register their name, their voters number, where they stay. Now everything has been inputted in the system. So this time around, we are not going by that. So we only take their badge number, the card number, and then that's all. So this time around, the things will run very smoothly than the first.
Ishmael, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I wanted to add what he just said, but the first aspect, you know, the earlier one, people were having the payment, but when they started seeing that, okay, now if I take it, nothing will happen to me, then they started trooping in. And as he said, the data issues was the key problems or challenges that we faced during the first round. But this time around, we are not going to have that challenge. Where a challenge will come in, it will be where I said that maybe if you came on the second match, you have to be on the 19th.
So you're anticipating people will cross the
days. And if they cross the days too, it's also going to be a problem because if you come on the day that you are not supposed to, you know we will not be there. And they are not also going to vaccinate you. So in this case, you have to do more of the talking or education on that because there will be going to be a noise. And even those beyond the 9th, they are all due. Actually, they are all due, but you have taken them out because you have to focus on the first 9 days. And, you know, people still try to come around to come and frustrate the process, but we are using such mediums or the Xyz as you are helping to educate the general public that this one is solely for those who took their jab on the 2nd to 9th. Those beyond are not eligible to take the second dose.
And even those who took from 2nd to 9th, there are specific days they are supposed to come.
Yeah, there are specific days. Yeah, they are supposed to come.
So when is it starting?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So
19th.
When it starts tomorrow, those who took it on the 2nd are supposed to come and take it. Then subsequently, the date follows.
Like that. And they should go to where they took their first jab. Yes, if you don't go there and you go to different place, your name will not be found and they are not going to do it for you. Yes, they won't go to do it for you.
I think I also like to add something to what Ishmael. So the time that was given to us to create awareness, I mean, is very limited. Limited because like we will be beginning the exercise just tomorrow. So what we want to devise, the plan that we want to devise that during the day, of the vaccination, which is tomorrow, with the supervisors. Early morning that the crowns have come, we just pass the announcement to them, especially on the date, because we are vaccinating the crowns who took their first jabs on the 2nd to 9th of March. So announce every morning. And other than that, we see there's going to be a situation where somebody will be in the queue for a very long time. It will get to the person's turn, only to be told that, oh, you are not due, you are not part of those who are eligible. And it can raise verbal abuse. I mean, they can raise verbal abuse on the team, which we don't want to experience that. So yesterday in the training of the vaccinators, I raised that concern that when they are at post, before they go to the vaccination center to set up the place for vaccination, they should ensure that they give announcement to the crowd there before they even start doing the exercise. They should pass the announcement and then give the date so that whoever doesn't fall within the date bracket, whoever doesn't fall within the date bracket will just get up from the queue. And go otherwise, the person will be in the queue only to raise verbal abuse.
So the most important communication is that if you are not in the date bracket, do not show up. Also, if you didn't take the first jab, you shouldn't go to the census as well. Because government is making arrangements to make sure that everybody gets it as well. So then, moving on, what do you think can be done to make your job as smooth as possible for the second jab?
I think the whole thing is about getting the people to understand what is going to happen. And as you said, maybe the duration is, you didn't get that information where you said you cannot cross. And then you can also, only for those 9, that's the age group into bracket. You didn't get that information earlier. So what is now most important is to educate the general population to understand what is going to happen now. So that is what we are now trying to embark on. We have to use our van to go around and then use the media as well and other. So we also ask people to also help us. Now that we have come here, maybe we will not get the opportunity to come before the end of the program, but so we can also put it across for the dinner or your listeners to also understand. If through that, it will go down. In fact, when we come here or the FM station, a lot of people get to, especially within, I don't know for the entire, but within our district, most people get to hear of that. Before you leave us, if I'm coming, what is expected of me?
If you are coming, you have to come with your card. The card. So the card is a proof of evidence that you took your first job. But in case that maybe your card is torn or is missing, which needs what replacement, it can be that. But we don't encourage that. We don't. And then to add something related to what Ishmael said, we want to make our work very easy. You know, when it comes to awareness creation, we have different approaches. We have many approaches that we adopt. We don't only use the media, the electric media. We also have awareness creation in the churches. We've served in churches within our municipal. We have served them with letters for them to make announcement on it to the church members. Letters have been served long time ago. And then we also have what you call the stakeholders meeting. And we've engaged the stakeholders within our municipal. So if so they also attend. So we have the one-on-one. So like you get the information or you get the message, you also pass on to another person. So we have different channels that we are using. But for now, because there's a ban on noise, drumming and dance, so we are not going to use the van for now. But the other approaches, the other channels that we use, and we are going to add so that the message will get to the community members.
So if your card gets missing and you know that you are eligible to take it, you go there and mention your name. They will just give you your name and your information will come. And then there are some cards that you will change. I think in the first 3-4 days, we issue. You know, if you are not careful, you won't see the difference. You change some people's card for them when they come. Because there are some that there's sticker on it. The one you can travel with it. You have to, everybody have to get that one. And it came later part of the first round. So those who couldn't get that particular card, we will change that card for them. Yeah. If it gets missing, you come. And if you know you are due, you come, mention your name and to be checked for you.
Okay, I'll come back to you and then maybe in about 30 seconds you would wrap up. But we are discussing the COVID vaccine, the second doses that have been brought into the country by the government. Now we know that close to 1 million people have been vaccinated. The target actually was 20 million people getting vaccination. Now we have a number of people who have taken the first dose. Government have made arrangements for the second and still making arrangements for the others who haven't taken the dose at all. Now I need to also make some cash. Loss-in care mixture. If you're a woman, please, you need to take care of yourself, and so get the Loss-in care mixture and take good care of yourself so that the man will call you Obasima as well. Now if you're a man and you also have to take care of yourself, or you want to be called Mivra, then please get the Delayman capsules. And also there is the Loss-in herbal mixture for general body pains. Fibroid is one thing that a lot of women are battling with. Get that as well. Then also there is Loss-in herbal ointment. And if you want to go for bulk purchases, please go to Colinak Herbal, Misty Herbal, Danny Herbal, Freddie Men's, Habme Apidank, Sewa Herbal Shop Mampong, Drag Lane Okainshi, and AA Mensa Takrade, and any leading herbal shops nationwide. Or you can call them on 0242 133 577, 0248 619999, and become a part of the Loss-in herbal mixture family. Also, X Natural Mineral Water is in the building, and if you're thinking of distributing, kindly call 0596 273546 or 0596 273547. Get the Black Secret makeup as well and look as natural as I'm looking right now. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you very much.
We hope that you have a smooth running or smooth operation this time round. All right, so this has been the social segment on the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abena Sewa. Eric Ahiano is on standby for newspaper review.
I love makeup. Applying it gives me so much joy. But when it's time to take it off, nothing does the job quite like the Black Secret makeup wipes. When I go somewhere and I feel really sweaty, I take my Black Secret wipe and I use it on my face. It picks me up and I don't look as tired as I did when I walked in.
Before I work on a client's face, I like to go over it with Black Secret makeup wipes to make sure the face is clean. It doesn't leave the face dry and tight, but it keeps it soft and moisturized.
Wipe say your bodo.
Barcope, and it gets the job done. Or baby, and the smell makes the experience even better.
Tell me the tell me one didn't say no me sako for penny. Hey! Kwati adawrumo, me yonko kwati. Na adawruma. Enu anwumre wo ye aduane asori wura dem ana me fefe me se dabon. Ana kwati ebere meduro. Eduro odebere me no se Loss-in heba Mr.
Na me sisi me pechi, ani me ho na matwetwe me. Ani me chese madwonku, ani me nsai. Na de na wonka
me do futwa so. Empre ho, enye no nko. Wo de Loss-in heba ointment.
Me sisi, me kotodwe ni me pechi. Me ho na me yaw. Me tinwa na etwetwe me nyina. Me no ye de Israel. Eko, me benefit ko mu yaw na ha no. Ono bie no. Eko, na malaria ne de etu asie bekude.
Loss-in Herbal Clinic 0242 133 577.
Enye ma pemfo, ema wo ma omanofo. Ene mofra wonya mfie dum. Loss-in herbal mixture. Any Loss-in ointment. Ehun asedaye.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Good morning. Again, this is TV XYZ. This is Xyz TV. Remember, you'll be joining us later on this program by sending us your text messages 0559 0556 999 999. Kojo Edwasari is already with me in the studio. He's a former presidential staffer, a former member of parliament for Adenta. Kojo, good morning. How's everything?
Grace abounds. I'm fine.
Yesterday was Monday. I don't know if you started the week very well. Or is dull?
Is there any Ghanaian who can be said to start anything apart from the crooks that we know?
This morning, there's a lot of conversation. I believe yesterday you followed how the Operation Halt was being carried out. NPP National Women's Organizer came in the news. She issued a statement, or a statement was issued on behalf of one of the companies involved. 14 excavators were burnt. Apparently, national security suggests from what they did that she was involved in illegal mining. Otherwise, they won't encroach any mine concession and destroy as many as 14 excavators. This coming at a time when somebody who was forcibly removed from office, DCOP Opariado, who has been speaking widely. I'm sure you've listened to him. Let me take your opening remark. Yesterday, when you started hearing all these things, what came to mind?
Morning to yourself and your production team, as well as your viewers. It's sad that after 4 years of flagrant disrespect and disregard for law and order by the NPP government, led by Nana Akufo-Addo himself and Dr. Baumia, who people have touted him as someone who is a gentleman and all of that. And people forget that they superintended over all manner of security breaches, starting with their first week in office, when these same thugs and criminals, as we know some of them are, accosted a police officer, one Nankan Bruce, who was a commander of the police at the time, then Flagstaff House. We all saw what happened. It was on camera. It was on video. Everything about it was on camera. One would ask, what happened to the perpetrators of such heinous crime that they visited on a police officer, 7 police officer? Nothing happened to them. So they became more empowered and emboldened. The next one was this same group in Kumasi went and went into a courtroom after they had had an altercation or so with the police. The case went to court, and then
it was when the assaulted
the
one
first
regional security coordinator.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. So the case went to court. And right in the courtroom, a pregnant judge who was then presiding over their case, these thugs attacked this court. Another group of thugs came in and set the group free, sent them out there, and nothing happened until later on, some wishy-washy.
They were slapped with some fines.
Yes. So if you've done this, and this group has been coexisting with what we call the police, which for me, I think they've lost their place as police people, or what is it, a group of police people, an institution that is supposed to police a country. They've lost it for me. I mean, anybody can say what they like, but personally, I think the Ghana police, as it stands right now, everything, I say, if a fish will get rotten, it starts with the head. So maybe there may be elements in it whose voices cannot be heard at this point, who are very good, but the head of the police system as we have it currently, for me, I think they've lost their place. We are living in a banana republic. No sense. You know, I was brought up by a soldier. My father was an army officer. My uncle, my mother's immediate brother, was an army officer. The next one was also an army officer. So we were in an environment. I mean, I should have ended up as a soldier at a certain point. I guess my uncle called me and wanted me to, enlist and all of that. But I said, no, I want to be a businessman. That is what, got me. I had to run from home because the day he was supposed to pick me up and take me to wherever to go and start the process, I dodged. Otherwise, by now, probably I would have been an army officer too. But the discipline that we grew up with, the discipline that characterized the Ghana Armed Forces, and having lived in various barracks across this country, today we have lost that fabric.
Now, there are 2 or 3 strands to this conversation.
Yes.
In your earlier submission, you made reference to some of these thugs who attacked a court after they had assaulted a regional security coordinator.
Yes.
And were slapped with some minor fines, and they even paid instantly at the court.
Yes.
Would you say that institutions of state which must act to serve or send a strong signal to people who breach the law must equally take the blame, because the judicial service knows how they operate? And all of them sat down and saw this happen, and it looked as if everything was normal. I've seen several attacks at police posts. People attack police stations, yank off suspects, and destroy police vehicles. And many of them, we know, have not been successfully prosecuted. Now, if you are an ordinary policeman and you don't have the powers, what is likely to be the mood within the service from where we sit?
You see, that's what I was trying to, veer my whatever towards. You see, the judge cannot determine a case in isolation. Somebody must prosecute a certain charge. Then, based on that charge, a decision will be taken, or a judgment can be given. Is that not the case? So you don't expect a judge who has been presented with a case that does not warrant someone to be jailed, for that judge to use their discretion to jail the person. That is why I'm going on the police and the security architecture.
That the state prosecution system.
Not only the prosecution, the security architecture. Because here is the case. This group claim they were going to, they were getting this man, Poriado.
DCOP, Ayensu Opareado.
Yes, they said they were... There's an order to bring him
brought to the National Security Secretariat.
Exactly. So National Security is sitting in the space there somewhere. The police is sitting in the space there. And this is a DCOP, an equivalent of a major general. in the military. All right? That you handcuff somebody who is not a policeman, not a soldier, or whatever. These are, according to him, people they know as members of Delta Force have had that effrontery to handcuff an ex-lieutenant, major general. Oh, you see, when you say DCOP, a lot of people don't get it. That's why I'm equating it with the major general, whatever, so that
rank, so that people will
appreciate the level. How dare you handcuff a major general? Can you?
His crime was to leave office.
Yes. So what happened to the so-called rule of law and orderliness that the president, who was whitewashed and presented in a way to this country, and today I'm happy that his real self is being, because we were warned by the likes of Nyaho Tamaklo, the likes of Dr. Reku Bobe, and Alaji Banda and co. They knew him better, and they gave us the precursors of what was likely to happen. Guardians did not pay attention. Here we are. Today, there is nothing you can hold together, to the extent that our security system has been dissipated in this manner. That thugs are the ones who are at work.
The authority to operate the way they. In some countries, I've read books, I've witnessed it because I have seen videos where the security system almost has become divided, where you have people who are in there just to operate on behalf of the regime. And then we have others who are virtually left or abandoned. And sometimes they clash. Just next door, Togo, that system is in operation. Is that where we are getting to, where we fill the security system with operatives who are in there to serve a regime and not the state?
Yeah, because you see, what is the security system or architecture? What is it meant to do? It is to protect the territorial integrity of the country and also the interior system, the properties, the state's institutional structures, so that citizenry will not have easy access to, disregard order and do things with impunity. So that is why we have them. We have the customs to check how revenues come in. We have fire service to ensure that our properties are secured. Arson and all those other things cannot be easily perpetrated. We have the immigration to ensure that our borders are secured, so foreigners, foreign criminals, and people who come in the country are well registered and all of that. The military also has all of these groups come together to protect the sanctity of its the country. But if you have a point where the government that comes into the party that comes into government decides that they are not even when it comes to recruit, you see, I dare say, all right, sometimes, where we are at this point, one must say the truth and say it in plain terms. You see, I am Anakam. And I think that we are getting to a point of a dangerous point where people who don't form part of the account structure are slowly being pushed to a certain corner. Take a cursory look at leadership of these state, security institutions. Start from there, and then from there come back into state institutions or state agencies, the heads, and do the ratio or strike the percentage and see how many accounts you will find at the top echelons vis-a-vis all other tribes in the country. So this
concern is about the national cohesion that is being lost.
Exactly.
And how dangerous is this?
It is very dangerous. Extremely dangerous, because otherwise what this government is doing today, that we are all witnesses of, And we are all countenance, especially some of the media that we have in this country. The very things that people, a tenth of it, people frowned upon in past dispensations. A tenth, 1/10 of it. People frowned. I mean, for instance, if you say, oh, what are some of the ills of President Mahama? The first thing they will ask you, they will tell you, oh, bus branding. How much was involved in the bus branding issue? 1.9 million Ghana cedis. 1.9 million Ghana cedis. And you know how much that is in dollars?
That's about 200,000 plus.
All right. 200,000. How much is this? What's the other one? The Ford Expedition. Do you know how much one Ford Expedition costs? The fully packaged with all the options, whatever, it's about $80,000. But look at the noise that was made about it. Today, we are dealing with billions of cedis. Look at the rice they claim they shared for this during the COVID period. Look at how it was done. They just cook some wishy-washy food and go and throw it to people in trucks and all of that. And
now,
afterwards,
is it moral decadence? Is it
it is the fact that when Eric, who is an Ewe, does something wrong, Eric will be castigated and made useless. Kojo Edwasari, who is a Makan, when he does something wrong, some
may suggest that you are overstretching.
I'm not overstretching. You see, it is something that if we don't check at this point in time, it will escalate and it will be worse off. You see, yesterday I was doing like I was going through my mind. Yes, and I was asking because I heard my friend Honorable Kennedy Japan mention some of the names that were owning big companies in the country, because they asked him whether why most Ghanaian companies don't last beyond 30 years or a generation. And he was answering. He mentioned Kowus Motors, all those big RT Briscoe, and all manner of names. And then I sat down and asked.
You know what? I will come back to you. We have Superintendent retired Peter Tobu on the line. He's the MP for Wa West. I'm speaking to him especially because of his experience in the security service. Good morning, sir. Peter, good morning. It looks like we've lost him. And sorry, I slowed down the tempo, but you can continue from where we are.
You see, so I was checking the names of the owners. The names of the owners. I was, hey, why? I didn't hear any Ghana person's name in it. I didn't hear any Aigbe or other person's name in it. I didn't hear any Northerners' name in it. All the companies were owned by a certain group of people. But at the time, no, please listen.
Okay.
You know, so I was asking, because they were saying that it was Rawlings who went after those companies and destroyed them. So I was asking, could it be the case that it was only one group of ethnic group who at the point could be business people?
Okay, it's a question. I'll come back. You will land on it. Peter is on the line. Peter, good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
I'm fine. It's been a while. Superintendent retired, isn't it?
That is very correct.
Good. I am speaking to you because I want us to understand the security architecture, whether you are in service or retired, and the implication of your action or actions against you, and how this is most likely to affect the mood within the services, not limiting this to particular institutions. You were executive secretary to the former IGP, David Asante Apietu, and therefore you were close to the top when we talk about the police service. DCOP, how huge is this portfolio, and what does it mean if he was found handcuffed by people perceived to be members of vigilante groups? What signal does this send?
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our cherished listeners. Unfortunately, I'm not in studio to say viewers. Security, as a matter of fact, is an anchor to national development. So anytime security is right, economic progress is always sustainable. Deputy Commissioner of Police in the structure of the Ghana Police Service is just one rank short of the final one, which is Commissioner of Police. Inspector General of Police is a political appointment, though within the police service, it doubles as a rank. So if you find a Deputy Commissioner of Police who is retired, he's retired as a venerable person, a person that is honored by the Ghana Police Service. Even at my level as a superintendent of police, I have a lot of respect among the rank and file because of where I used to work and what my contribution to the Ghana Police Service. So if you find a Deputy Commissioner of Police who has been malhandled, whether he's retired or not, the truth of the matter is that once a police officer, always a police officer. Whether on your retirement or in active service, your contribution to state security is so important that even on retirement, government pays you very appreciable sum of money to keep your life stabilized. A Deputy Commissioner of Police, I presume he has retired on his salary, on his consolidated salary. A Deputy Commissioner of Police who has been appointed as a regional security coordinator is somebody that all of us respect. A Deputy Commissioner of Police who has served many years in Ghana as a police officer and went home, that he retired, not that he was dismissed. It tells you he has some level of credibility and integrity. So if you find people who are neither police nor soldiers, they are not even state security agents. These are civilians who call themselves party force. I hear it is a Delta force. And because it is their party that is in government, and I presume they fought for their party to come into government. So they are demonstrating that as long as this party is in government, we don't care who you are, a uniform officer, whether active or retired. We are supreme. And what we say is final. They had gone to his office instructing him to follow them to Accra, alleging that they were directed to bring him to Accra by the acting National Security Coordinator. If that is true, I am really disappointed. But I don't want to believe that can be true, because the national security architecture is very clear. The National Security Coordinator has access to the Regional Security Coordinator. And if he needed him, it is just a phone call, report to my office, and he will willingly join the vehicle or bus and come to Accra and go and report to his boss.
Okay, so Peter, just stop there and let me ask a follow-up question. What does the national security setup, how does it operate? If I'm recruited into national security, I believe that I go through orientation. And so what do you expect, assuming, because government's initial response was that these people who were arrested by the police in Ashanti region were national security operatives. And therefore, if that is true, the presumption would have been that they have some appreciation of how the system should operate. Because DCOP Ayensu Opariado makes reference of AK-47 pointed at him.
Thank you very much. The biggest mistake all of us are understanding and unfortunately internalizing in Ghana about national security had to do with the fact that people think that national security is a myth or is a superstition. No. National security is basically all security agencies in the country coming together for the state, and we call it national security. And the National Security Council is chaired by the President of the Republic of Ghana. The National Security Council has the Minister of National Security, the Minister of Interior, the Minister of Defense, now the Minister for Digitization and Communication, and all the heads of the security agencies are part of national security. That is what we call national security. The narrative that is emerging now is an erroneous narrative that there is something, another institution like the Ghana Police Service or the Ghana Immigration Service, which is also called national security. That is very wrong. And I've been saying this. If you go to the National Security Secretariat, that secretariat was established according to law to ensure that they facilitate the work of the National Security Council. It is not supposed to be another unit that is recruiting people. If there is anybody who is recruited as a civilian, it is probably just for administrative purposes, to facilitate the work of the council. But anybody found at the National Security Secretariat should be somebody seconded from any of these security agencies. Either you were seconded from the police like DSP Azubu, or Lieutenant Colonel Ajima seconded from the Ghana Armed Forces, or anybody at all seconded from any of the security agencies. But there is no civilian at the National Security Council or National Security Secretariat that should be so powerful that he can even command and control men and women in uniform. What we are doing in this country, giving arms to civilians and calling them national security. Please go and check. Where are these national security people trained? Go and check. What is their code of ethics? Please go and check. When you find a civilian holding a gota and having a sidearm and calling himself national security, find out from him, what is your number? Find out from him, what is your course? Find out from what is the name of the institution that we're working in. National security is a coordinating body. It's not a single institution. But what we are doing in this country, we are endangering national security by using national security. This is a contradiction.
Okay, Peter, I'll give you a minute to wrap up. Going forward, how can we stop this? Because where we are, it looks like we have reached the peak. All the secrets are now coming out. What can we do? Should the public revolt through protest? Or you think, as we speak, it is not too late, somebody can speak to the president as head of national security?
Thank you very much. I said yesterday, the Emershot Commission did a wonderful job, and they made several recommendations, and the president accepted some in his white paper. He accepted that the SWAT team or the combat team at national security was going to be disbanded. He agreed that DSP Azubu was going to go back to police, and that was the white paper, which the president himself issued and finally, surprisingly, not honoring it. Going forward, what we need to do as a people, one core value that we need to search as Ghanaians, go get it, and this country will be a very safe country. Integrity. Let us be honest with what we do. The deception in politics is too much. The propaganda in security is dangerous. Let's accept the core value of integrity. In security, we don't have colors. In security, we don't have partisanship. In security, we talk about the nation. Let's look at the public interest in terms of the developing security policies, and this country will move forward. The core value of integrity is all we need as a country to make progress.
Okay.
But as for revolt, sometimes it is not the interest of anybody for a country to go through a revolution. But if it becomes spontaneous out of anger, sometimes it becomes difficult to stop. There is space, there is time, we can think through this. Let's not sit and wait.
Thank you very much. Superintendent retired Peter Tuobu, I presume the pronunciation is correct.
You are very correct.
MP for Wa West. We are so grateful for the education. Now, so he lands on a very cautious note that if we don't nip this in the bud, it can explode. And the revolt I used was with reference with what Rawlings described as positive defiance. There was a time in this country where concerns were being raised about secret recruitment, training, unannounced recruitment into the services, and pictures came out and nobody spoke. And here we are, it looks like we have a number of them perhaps already in the system, and now we may have security within security, and people are operating with impunity. From where you sit as a former member of parliament, do you think parliament as an institution, even today as we speak, is strong enough because they are almost at par to help the president or whip government to line? I will do that. I just want the public to listen to DCOP Ayensu Opare Ado. Maybe you have not heard him, but at least Ketsi Star FM, listen to his narration.
On Tuesday, the 11th of this month, I was packing my things in the office, and at about a little over 5 o'clock in the evening, 7 men entered my office forcefully. And when they got in there, they locked the door. Incidentally, I was with my secretary who were packing our items from the office because I had been told by the executive secretary to the president, Nana Santibidiacho, that His Excellency has said that I should hand over this office to them, and that was all. So immediately they came, they said they've been instructed to pick me to Accra. And I asked why that. They said that yes, it was the acting National Security Coordinator who said I should be brought to Accra. So what for? I won't go to Accra. My wife had come from Accra to Kumasi to see me, to visit me. So I won't go, and I can't go to Accra to see him. And if the National Security Coordinator wanted to talk to me or to invite me, he would call me and tell me to come to Accra to see him. Immediately I said that, I was handcuffed by these guys.
You were handcuffed?
Yes, I was handcuffed in the office by these guys, and my secretary started crying widely in the office, but they had locked the door, and they had locked another door in the operations office. So we were there, and they asked of the vehicle I was using in the office, and I made my voice bring it. And, they came with a hired vehicle.
A hired vehicle?
Yes, they hired a vehicle and came with it, not with any official vehicle. And when they came, I told them I will never go. So they handcuffed me, and I told them that I wanted to go and urinate. One young man followed me to the toilet, and I asked why he did that. I said, oh, but we are all men. If I see whatever you are having, it's not anything. I said, what do you mean? Get out of the toilet. And he said, no way, I won't go. Immediately, I finished urinating. A team of police officers came to the place. Then the second in command of the Ashanti region also came with some policemen and said they should arrest the team that came to attack me in the office. So that was sad. We went to the office of the regional police command, and we were asked, the guys were left. I don't know what instructions they had, the police had, to lead them that way, but they were left to go, and asked that we should report the next day, which was Wednesday, at 10 o'clock. I went there and wrote my statement. They never did come. And that was all that happened. They never did come, but they said they had been instructed by the National Security Coordinator, acting National Security Coordinator, to come and pick me to Accra at 5 p.m. What for? My request for security wasn't met for all these years, but I wasn't worried about that at all. And, well, they came, I don't know, with some of the old Delta Force guys, Mohammed Saidu, Mustafa, who is called Staff, Terry, and one of them, Atal something. They came there. I know all of them. And I know for sure that these were the guys who organized this kind of action or reaction against me. But they were saying they were sent by the National Security Coordinator, General Amamfo, Major General Amamfo, to be precise. And I was stunned by the action of the police because if I have been a police officer ever, if such an action had happened in my time, nobody would dare to tell me that leave them and let them come the next day. They were left and they went. They never reported to the police the next day. And nothing has been done about this up now. That is the situation we are facing now. They were picked to the headquarters of the police in Ashanti. All of us went there, and I was expecting that they would be kept in custody for doing this to me, and investigations conducted. Because I wouldn't believe that, I don't believe that the National Security Coordinator will tell them, go and arrest him. bring him to Accra.
So that's the narration, very harrowing. I hear Nana Asante Bedietu in the conversation. I hear Delta Force. I also hear concerns about why the suspects in this case were allowed to go without being detained. I also listened to him saying 5 p.m. is going to be moved. In some parts of the country, 5 p.m. would mean on the way to Accra, almost 3-4 hour journey. If they're using motorcade, maximum 2.5 hours, they should be in Accra. Anything can happen between Kumasi and Accra. So being a security operative as high as a former DCOP, appropriately, his action may have been right. The question is, should the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, as commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, be speaking to the country at this time to allay fears and to set the record straight? Or is he in charge of this country at all? Kojo Asare, your concern?
Well, if you ask me bluntly, I'll tell you the president has lost control over the country. That's my personal view on this whole 4 year, especially this second 4-year term. I mean, it has come in a bit too early, but everything that is going on around will tell you. Because if you plant corn, you don't expect to reap wheat. What the president planted is what, because it's just a rehash of the earlier 2017 activities, whatever took place then, because then they used this Delta Force, this whatever Bulldog group to perpetrate. As you said, we were in this country, and for me, my little regret is why the government then, which I was part of, was so lenient to that group, especially when everything was showing or pointing to the fact that this group were being nurtured. We have this Swedro group that was,
those who were arrested during 2016 electioneering campaign,
these three
who were eventually sent back to South Africa. They had come in to train people.
Wonderful.
And so on.
Yes.
But some might say that, look, in all the political parties, there may be some of those elements. So at that time...
what is the element used for? That is the main thing. Do you understand? I mean, if I have a security guard in my house, because it's also because my house is not well protected, or my vicinity is not well protected. That's how come I will go and hire a private security person to come and work in my house. So there's nothing wrong if I can put a team, a recognized team of security that is the state recognizes, or hire a recognized security personnel in my system. Or as a political party, we have a certain group that we have put together to manage security in our, places where we have programs, our party office and others. There's nothing wrong with that.
But when Peter Tuobu spoke,
yes,
he made reference to the fact that if you see a civilian with what some call gata or these motor, is it gota, these Motorola's or these talkbacks.
These are national security
and pistols.
These are national security gadgets. Yes.
Right. Now, what signal does it send, especially because we have heard before that sometimes you go to the security setup, as we speak, I get calls and I get the impression that there's some strong division within the Ghana Armed Forces, where there are people who are very bitter about what is happening, and there are others who are eavesdropping and virtually threatening others who cannot speak their mind. I also get the impression that the same thing is happening in other security
That is
agencies.
what I was trying to
address. What signal does this send?
That is what I was trying to address with this ethnicity thing earlier. Okay? You see, sometimes
I want to run away from
don't run away, because you see, these are the things that when we don't mention, they get to fester, and we live with its repercussions.
But there's also the concern that, as you say it, you are just fueling it.
So who should say it? Point is that take the NPP from the very Kufuor's era to this era, the number of IGPs they have had, and check how many of them and what their ethnic group is. Check.
Why won't we discuss the issue and
please? You see, these are things. We are talking about Shanti region, for Christ's sake. That is where this issue is festering. Please face the facts, or some of us don't get us into your studio because we'll tell you what it is. Look, this is Ghana. We have a constitution to live with. When you want to do appointments, the constitution guides you as to how to go about it. Be balanced.
There's a term they call regional balance.
Exactly, balance. All of it is supposed to help us to fix this country in a certain manner, or put it in a direction that somebody will not feel small, somebody will not feel being sidelined or whatsoever. There will be cohesion, so that things like this will not fester. So if one group thinks that they are being kept in a corner, they are not getting promotions, they are not taking frontline positions, even though some of them have been in the service for longer time than others. So others are getting positions because of the names, the sound of their name and all of that. You think we shouldn't talk about it, Eric? You think we shouldn't talk about it? These are the things that are causing disaffection in some of the security agencies that you just mentioned. You want it to escalate before we go and become refugees, and then they bring us on the table and we come and talk about it whilst we are refugees? Please, let's face the facts. These are the things we've done to our own self.
Center for Democratic Development has raised an issue. They made reference to the SWAT team that the retired superintendent of police referenced. The Ghana Journalists Association, GIBA, and the Private Newspapers Publishers Association of Ghana, for example, also raised concerns about the kind of people we recruit into the services. We have many of them out there already who may have that orientation that we are there as party policemen or party soldiers or party SEPS people and so on. Maybe yesterday some may have been there in the name or under the umbrella of other political parties. How can we bring all these people to order?
It all boils down to the leadership of those institutions. If the leaders don't see themselves as political, pawns, excuse my language. If the leaders, those army commanders and police commanders, what's the name, IGPs and the heads and their immediate subordinates, if they don't see themselves as party pawns, look, that's the military that I know. By the time, if you are even a criminal, by the time they run you through
the system,
the military system,
the rigorous training,
rather you will change. Because it's a system. You better live with it. Because if you're a criminal, it won't take them 3 months. They will find out. You understand? And if they find out, they will discipline you.
But I know that if you are supposed to go through training to be recruited into any of the services, they do background checks.
Yes.
They even go as far as your hometown.
Wonderful.
And dig your parents and do all those things.
That is what
are we suggesting that it is not happening anymore?
That is what I'm talking about. That is the system that I know about. So the criminal elements that you are describing, they won't find themselves in the army in the first place. Now, but here is the case. Because of this military political party pawns that we have made into leaders in this group, this military and other whatever, they are the ones who are given access to these
let me speak to you now as a political party activist.
Yes.
Now, before 2016, I haven't seen, before 2020, haven't gone through this Ayawaso West Wagon thing and so on. There were concerns about party vigilantes or security groups and so on. So we had names, Bulldog, Hawks, and so on. If this posturing continues, does it give political parties now the right to also recruit people and perhaps train them as their own security personnel? Because that trust element is lost because National Peace Council supervised an action which was geared towards disbanding these groups. If they are still active, what signal does it send to your political party?
The National Peace Council, let me be blunt, they should be disbanded, because for me, I think they have outlived their usefulness because they are not fair to themselves, let alone being fair to Ghanaians. Ask them whether when they ask for signatures of political parties and whatever, NDC signed, MPP signed, the government of MPP, which was much bigger in terms of the tentacles and whatever in this vigilante, did not sign. What did the National Peace Council do about it? The government did not sign. Until today, has not signed. That is how come they had the effrontery to use military people to kill 9 people or so, or 8 people in Techiman South, Adododiu, and other places. Because they knew what they were going to do. And if they signed, they were going to be held responsible for signing whatever and then going to perpetrate that.
But the investigation is not conclusive. Yes. So it would be far-fetched to conclude that the killings may have happened because somebody didn't sign
from
a document.
Wait, who is doing the investigation? Who?
I remember very well.
Who is doing the investigation?
Okay, the Minister for National Security, yes, the Interior Minister, the yes, Defense Minister, yes, when they all appeared before the Appointments Committee of Parliament, the narrative was that investigations was ongoing. We only know that Parliament has set up a committee and may look at the larger...
Why would you think Parliament will set up a committee if they have confidence in what the Defense Minister and others said? It wouldn't go anywhere because it was to ensure that whatever happened that day happened, so that they will have 137 people. They are still fighting for more.
Let's
so for me, it wasn't a coincidence.
Now, Mr. Dwasari, we are talking about a nation called Ghana.
Yes.
We are among the Committee of Nations.
Yes.
So, for strategic reasons, you have the diplomatic community which shows interest in what happens in any country. Their interest extends to investor confidence. Now, with all these things that are unfolding, I believe that their intel is picking the reality on the ground.
Yeah.
What signal does it send outside about Ghana to the investment community? Because government's narrative is that there is still confidence. President Akufo-Addo is in France. You go to 2 other countries before he returns, perhaps next week. How do you look at all these in one bracket?
The pandemic, unfortunately, has overshadowed a lot of diplomacy and all of that, to the extent that Israel and Palestinians are having a conflict, and everybody is busy about their internal COVID fight rather than to even lend a helping hand to that effect. So let me be honest and be blunt. I'm wondering what Akufo-Addo is going to France for. You understand? Because 4 years since he's been traveling back and forth, one cannot tell what exactly any of those trips, how it has benefited us in any way, which particular investment has been achieved in the last 4 years that you can say that, when he went to London or went to UK or as a US or went to France or went to Germany, Japan and all those places, what it brought.
NPP would say at least they can make reference to the car assembling plant.
Car assembling plant. What did they do about car assembling plant? When it comes to the infrastructure that we needed, the energy infrastructure that we needed to have any industry come into Ghana to set up, was not brought in by them. So what would you say that they have done to bring those people into the country? They can't take credit for that. Every country takes a while, all right, to create that enabling environment. The infrastructure you need, the systems you need, the laws and the regulations and the rules and all of those things. That is what the investors look at before they come in. So you cannot come in and someone comes in 2017 and you think it is because when the NPP came in. No, they've been monitoring your energy stock. They've been monitoring your whatever laws that have been promulgated over a period.
Peaceful environment,
which you did not create. You only chanced into it. Now we are seeing the reality of what the MPP came and did. Because their 4 years, whatever they sowed in the last 4 years, that is what we are beginning to reap. What John Mahama sowed 4 years earlier is what they came and reaped in their first 4 years, which they dissipated, destroyed every single thing that looked like prosperity.
Now, Kojo Eduasare is the former MP for Adenta, a former presidential staffer. Now, before we wrap up, there's this development. The Senior University Staff Association of Ghana are embarking on strike today. Yesterday, the university administrators also issued a statement that next week they would also embark on strike. These are outstanding issues. 3-tier pension, non-payment of some arrears here and there. Now, with all this happening and these threats, because we spoke to the Legon branch chairman of the University Senior Staff Association of Ghana, and he says the strike they are embarking on today would mean that every aspect of the administrative structure of the university will be brought to halt. It means that the students may have to come home if government is not able to immediately address the concerns. How does this come to you?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. You see, the first 4 years, they had a honeymoon, and they used the state security and other whatever to, muffle most institutions. The CHAS was not speaking. CHAS is, I think, Conference of
Heads of Assistant Secondary
Schools. They couldn't speak, even though they were having challenges. A teachers association could not speak because the leadership had been infiltrated. Most of the leaders of the various associations were all, that is
but some would also say that whenever there is a change of any regime, there is this goodwill that should help them to sail. So it may not necessarily be people who are not speaking, but there was goodwill they gave government at the time.
It started with the goodwill, all right? But with time, when they realized very soon that goodwill will fall off, then they started using muscles. The university, UTAG and others, they were all quiet. They couldn't speak. And it was all because of Matthew Poku Prempeh, who was then, he had systems that if you opened your mouth, the next moment you are taken to a Siberia of a sort. The next moment you are removed. The next moment you receive a letter and all kinds of things. He used that to intimidate people, so they couldn't speak. Now, the reality, it has moved away from just political parties. The real Ghanaian, the generic Ghanaians themselves, organically have come up and said, look, please fix the country. So now you cannot push it onto any political party and say, NDC for now, or more. Now the people themselves are requesting that leadership of this country should should rise up and do what is right and what is proper. And that is what is beginning to embolden. Okay, recently you heard the likes of Dr. Sam Jonah and co. speaking. The CDD have said it over the period already. So people are beginning to have their voices. So please, I'm not surprised that now most of these institutions and associations are beginning to, find their feet and to rise up against government. And for me, the worst is yet to come.
Now, the governance structure of this country, and if you want to look at some laws that give powers to a few institutions, you realize that it empowers them to be able to operate. And so you may have these institutions of state governed by people who must also help. If you say fix the country and your narration suggests that you are losing confidence in government or you have already lost confidence, would you say that we must now look at those institutions? Let me take that question to George Sengana, country director. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Harry.
Yeah, George, or say, is it Bimpe? Is that the pronunciation?
Yeah, right. Bimpe.
George, so we all know the problems. For you as an organization, your role is to complement government's effort to reduce poverty. Now, if you look at all what is happening and those who give you grants to operate, would you say that it's getting to a saturation point where everybody may lose hope and even affect your business?
Well, that will be an exaggeration. But, Eric, the important point is that key stakeholders have begun expressing concern about the way things are going. And I think that we will need to face it as it is, and be frank with ourselves that we are sitting on a time bomb. And as a country, we better face the reality than to be using sophistry, political rhetoric, and then a PR approach to be to solve a problem that requires deep thinking, deep reflection, a situation of looking ourselves in the face to say that we will need to put a order on this and define for ourselves a course of destiny that will change institutions the way that will serve the interests of people, rather than to perpetuate the status quo that doesn't serve the interests of the people, the collective interest, rather than the interests of few who, for reasons that they themselves can talk about, see benefit from the status quo and seem to be pushing for it to perpetuate itself. And I think that we will need to be frank with ourselves. Our situation is not different from countries that have gone through, all the self-inflicted destruction, and we seem to be doing that indirectly. Okay, the earlier we realize it and face it head on, the better it will be for all of us.
Good. So your narrative just syncs with what Kojo Eduasare just said a while ago. When I try to suppress it, it's frank talk. Now, for NGOs and CSOs, I know that you are stakeholders in governance. You meet chiefs, you meet labor unions, you meet people like religious leaders, you meet people who sit on the National Peace Council, you meet influential people in the country. Do you raise these concerns? Do they share them with you? Do you become surprised when they turn around and operate as people who are sitting on the fence? Can you share with us your frustration if you have?
I have. Well, the frustration is largely borders of what people may not want to mention. The hypocrisy. I think that openly, some people may run away from the problem, but in their closet, or when you meet them individually, or at a point where you cannot say it is in the public domain, there is that genuine admission of the challenges that we are talking about. The missing link, Eric, is that it is not enough to say that there is a problem. What is important is the action that we take. And it seems to me that that action is not forthcoming, partly because we refuse to admit the problem in the public domain. Once we use, PR, we try to cover things up and we try not to, face problems head on. Certainly, it doesn't create that sense of urgency in terms of offering solutions to such problems. And I think that if we can get all meaningful Ghanaians, stakeholders, traditional authorities, religious leaders, to move away from our idiosyncrasies, to move away from whatever affiliations, whether ethnic, political, religious, whatever, that may influence our thought in a way that doesn't benefit the collective interest. If we can move away from that and say that as a corporate Ghana, where do we need to pull, we need to stop and say and think about what we need to do now and solve the teething problem. Today, the youth are rising up. Eric, the case of Boko Haram did not just start. Some politicians empowered some youth groups in northern part of Nigeria. The groups became agitated. They started asking for what was due them. Some other people saw the opportunity therein. They started funding them. And this is the kind of mess that we have in Nigeria. In the same way, in Ivory Coast, some politicians were displeased. They exploited the youth, and it created a whole lot of confusion, resulting in mercenaries coming in and so on and so forth. We have a different model, but it has a lot of semblance with the situation in other parts of the sub region. And I think that we will, our politicians will have to move away from capitalizing on the situation, whether it is PR or taking advantage, and say that, look, as a country, Ghana, we cannot afford to
so let's fix
things
it
that we have made overboard like that.
All right, George. Unfortunately, we have just 5 minutes, and I want to do some text messages. You always speak well, and I'm sure that you have just raised the most sensitive issues that the nation should talk about. We are grateful for your time, sir. Thank you. It looks like George didn't hear me, but he said it all. I'll be doing a few text messages, so I just want you to hold on because I want you to wrap up with your concluding remark. This one says, good morning, Mr. Presenter. Please ask Jean Mensah and Bosman Asari why is she refusing to pay us our December election little allowance. This one says, please, there is no condor in the so-called fight against Galamsey. The animal farm tactics is fighting the menace. In fighting the menace is irritating. How can the media allege that the task force has burnt machines belonging to Kijimfua, the NPP's national women's organizer, only for her to turn around and issue a statement? I'll try to truncate many of the messages to get access to many. Please, I'm NAPCO trainee. We are pleading with you to speak to government to pay us our arrears and monthly allowance. This one says, good morning, TV XYZ. I'm Brian from Adan. We, the youth, would demonstrate against the judges if they still want to work with one side to favor one person. We want the judges to ask the EC to bring the original documents. This one says, good morning, hosts of Morning Update. I'm very grateful to your guest of today's program. He's just frank to the issues. He's a great Ghanaian. Please always bring him to your program. Edward from Eastern Region sent this text message. This one says, the BN9 now, NIB, is still doing the background check on the military recruits. Still, your TV is off. And here in the Chebi, I don't know, but I don't know whether he's doing that. But now, you can watch us on Facebook, but I'm sure your TV, if you check the antenna, leadership spirit radiates. The vigilantism epidemics ravaging this country is a function of the condoning posture of the Jubilee House. President Akufo-Addo preaches law and order, but his courage encourages impunity. This one came from Koshi Badohu. You didn't tell us where you are calling from. This one only said, hi, TVXYZ. Thanks for the great show. Inshraba Anelka says, I will urge all Ghanaians to be patient with President Akufo-Addo's government, as he is very committed and determined to fix all the socio-economic problems of the country. And he said, greetings, Alaji Labaran Yakubu Bari. This one says, good morning, please. Primary school teachers attended a workshop on the new curriculum close to 2 years now. No single textbook has been provided. The JHS teachers are yet to attend workshop with the new curriculum, yet JHS textbooks are in. Are our leaders now taking an anti-clockwise direction? Divine from Techuman sent this. I'll just wrap up. Plenty messages, but let me read one. Correct Score Sakare says, Nanado and Baumia have destroyed Ghana, giving us bad leadership. I think summarizes your text mail. Plenty. Sorry, for now. Just bear with us. The conversation has been very tight. Edward Sari.
Yes, sir.
You listen to the text messages. 1 minute. Wrap up.
Well, you see, Eric, some of us, we don't care to die today. At least I've lived over 50 years. If I die today telling the truth, I don't care. You understand? And for me, I'm a partisan. I belong to a political party. But I belong to a country first. And that country must be fixed in a certain direction. So if you have people whose own ideas of governance is to enrich themselves and make themselves demigods and destroy whatever that the predecessors. Whatever we are today was as a result of what others did. So if you come as a president and all you can do is to destroy all water bodies, including ones that is right, the birim that we all thought was, when we were growing up. Here we are.
Time also.
I'm sad. I'm sad that time also. But let the leaders know that, look, they will die very soon, some of them, if they don't take care.
Okay. I don't want you to speak like Samens when he spoke and said, I don't want to continue. I am reflecting.
No, it's sad, Eric.
I'm reflecting on what happened at Winneba, and we all saw it. And Otumfuo spoke, and all of us looked on, and it kept on building. But today, Achichre, and Iduana, and
the
creeping plant, and the bed on top. Choose one of them. Think about Ghana, pray for Ghana. On behalf of the production team, Nana Abena Sewa, sitting by looking at me, I can imagine what is going through her, and the Ways on TV team production. I want to say thank you. Let's meet again tomorrow. Good morning. Keep watching TV XYZ and Ways on TV.